Hi, welcome to Rock and Metal Invasion. My name is Steve. Coming up on the show today, I'm doing hair metal lyrics. How bad were they? Well, I guess it's the kind of question that most people can answer pretty quickly and say they were pretty bad. But, we've got to remember this is back in the 80s and it's a different time. And I know for myself, when I was listening to this kind of music back in the 80s, I pretty much expected the lyrics to be either about sex, drugs, or rock and roll, or a combination of all of those three. So I didn't focus too much on the lyrics and just enjoyed the music, and that's great. I think that's actually an okay thing to do. But I've also, as I've got older, started to appreciate lyrics a lot more, and a song with great lyrics can definitely enhance my enjoyment of the song. But at the same time too, as people know if they watch my channel, I love a lot of the 80s hard rock and metal, and a lot of the songs I like don't have fantastic lyrics, but it is what it is, and I don't sort of focus on it too much. So I thought though it would be interesting today just to focus on some of the more dodgy ones, some of the ones that maybe I hadn't really paid too much attention to, enjoyed the songs, but now actually when I read the lyrics, uh, it's it's sort of perhaps showing its age a little bit, and certainly an example of perhaps um, lyrics that you wouldn't perhaps be able to write today, or you probably shouldn't. Um, I mean, there were some bands that also, and these bands could be categorized as hair metal bands that also did songs with good lyrics. Like, I mean, White Lion, they came out with a song called Little Fighter on their Big Game album. That was one of the first singles from the album. That was about the bombing of the Rainbow Warrior, which was like a ship that was fighting environmental issues, and so that had a bit of a political message. Granted, though, the song before that was called Dirty Woman, and yeah, the lyrics kind of speak for themselves with that title. But yeah, but also too, White Line, there are some other songs which weren't the sort of typical sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So they weren't too bad for that sort of thing. Now, a band that gets a lot of flack for one of their songs because it's perhaps a little bit dodgy, a little bit inappropriate, is a band called Winger, and I think you know the song I'm talking about. But in 1993, I think it was, this came out. Oh yeah, 1993, when they put out this album, Pull. It has a number of songs which have really good lyrics on them. One of my favourites is "In for the Cool," and yeah, just checking out some of the lyrics on that one. Really good, really good lyrics on this one. I guess this is '93, so we're out of the sort of '80s, and we're getting a lot of those sort of Warrant was doing a similar thing with their album as well, at their albums in the '90s. Lyrically they're getting a little bit more mature, but yeah, on In for the Kill it had I especially like this one when it talks about any chance of trust went up in smoke when the preacher's lust was sponsored by Coke. Yeah, I thought that was a good lyric. So that's a good one. Obviously, yes, before that album on the song 17, it has lyrics like, I'm only 17, I'll show you love like you've never seen. She's only 17. Daddy says she's too young, but she's old enough for me. So, again, it's something you don't want to take too seriously. I understand that. But, like I said also before, uh, the kind of lyrics that perhaps wouldn't be appropriate now. And interestingly enough, there's quite a few songs that from those sort of hair metal bands where the age of the girl they're talking about is underage or very close to it or not an appropriate age. So one example that I found was, it's another 17 one. This is a song called Robbing the Cradle from Roxy Blue. These guys were kind of similar to Van Halen. They came out in 1992, so it's like not 80s, but it wasn't that successful because again the hair metal scene was starting to die out. But it's got lyrics like it mentions a beauty queen, 17, But then, the song's called Rob the Cradle, right? So it's Rob the Cradle all night long, rob the cradle. It feels so right, even though it's wrong. And there's a music video for that song as well. But it actually gets worse. Slave Rider go for 16-year-olds. So, well, I don't know if they did, but they certainly wrote about 16-year-olds. So this one here, this is called Young Blood. And the lyrics are, sweet 16 and never been kissed. That kind of girl doesn't even exist. Yeah. Fresh fruit, ripe for picking. Sometimes it's hard to resist them. And then the chorus is young blood, young lover, young blood, don't want no other. Yeah. Now, next one. Now, this is maybe perhaps technically hair metal, but this guy, definitely, I think he fits in the hard rock category, especially this album here. So this is from, I think this came out in '89. There's some really good hard rock songs on it, but yeah, Benny Mardones, he had a hit, I think, in the late '70s with Into the Night, and it then got re-released yet again, and it's on this song. So he had I think, a top 20 hit twice with this song. But the opening lyric is, "She's just 16 years old," and then it says, "Leave her alone," they said. And so there's a bit of controversy about that. Benny's talked about it, saying that it's actually not about him having some sort of affair with a 16-year-old girl. It's a family friend. This girl had lost her father. His father had run off or something, and so he was just basically just sort of being like a father figure. And the line had come up. Robert Tepper, I think it is, who he wrote the song with, who, I think it's his name, Robert Tepper. He had a hit with No Easy Way Out, which is from the Rocky soundtrack, I think it was. Or it was a Sylvester Stallone movie anyway. And yeah, Robert Tepper. Robert Tepper's the one who had made some comment about her when he had seen her, and then Benny had said to Robert, "Oh, she's just 16 years old. Leave her alone." And that's kind of how the line came up. So it's supposedly very very innocent. It's not what it might sound like. But if you've seen the music video, so if you go and watch the music video for the song, yeah, he's being more than a father figure at the end of the music video. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Of course, still on the 16. I guess back in the '80s, 16's a bit, it's a bit dodgy, but it's sort of acceptable to some degree. And well, this is late '70s, so this is Kiss, of course. Christine, 16. I mean, Kiss have never really been known for their amazing lyrics, but yeah, again, a little bit dodgy with the 16. But like I say, this is late '70s as well, so perhaps wasn't a big deal. I was really surprised though about this one. This is Love Hate. Now this is not the '70s. This is like 19. Let's have a look here. Yeah, 1990. And I was a little bit surprised about this one. So they're talking about like a 13-year-old here. So the lyrics for this one, this is Rocket Queen, which is a great song, and I've always liked this song, but I've never really focused too much on the lyrics. And the lyrics on this one are, "I've got my wine, get out of my way, got a chip on my shoulder, had a real bad day, met a little girl, just 13. She's a knockdown, blue-eyed slut, psycho virgin tease." And then the chorus is, "Rock Queen, 13, buxom blonde, bad dream, let me touch your cookies, let me eat your cookies now." So, I mean, it would have been okay, I think. I think the cookies line is kind of funny, but the 13 part really is a bit dodgy. So, yeah, it's kind of surprised me. I never really noticed that until sort of doing a bit of research for this show. So, yeah, maybe they might need to change I don't know if they're still doing that song, but or if they have, when they did do concerts, maybe just, I don't know, change the age. But unfortunately, it's not the only song where 13-year-olds are talked about. Ted Nugent, Intensity in 10 Cities, has a line on the song Jailbait. So what's he saying here? Well, I don't care if you're just 13, you look too good to be true. I just know that you're probably clean. There's one little thing I got do to you. Yeah, I mean it's called Jail. The song's called Jailbait. Yeah, and then interestingly enough, the song after Jailbait on this album is I Am a Predator. Not good timing. Anyway, so there we go. So yeah, a lot of some dodgy ones there. And even if we get away from the age stuff, right? There's some pretty bad lyrics. And we're not even talking 80s here. This is early 90s. Granted, this album actually was a bit of a hit. It came out in 92. This is Jackal. And they had a song called She Loves My Cock. And it ends the album. I guess it's supposed to be slightly humorous and don't take it too seriously. But basically, that's the chorus. She loves my cock. So, yeah. And last one I'm going to mention. It's one of my favourite songs of all time. Wasp and Animal, Fuck Like a Beast. Awesome song. But I remember back in the day, there was a little bit of controversy, and it sort of has been talked about from time to time, that maybe this is about rape. Because I'm on the prowl and I watch you closely, and he's got lyrics like I steal your love. So it's it depends how you interpret the lyrics. It doesn't worry me too much. But it depends again on how you interpret the lyrics. But I still really love this song. So there we go. Some of those songs I talked about, I'm not that fussed about, but I thought it was just interesting to mention them. Some I still like, Rock Queen. I do really like that song by Love Hate, and like I say, I never really sort of noticed that age thing before. It might change it a little bit for me, but again, like I'm saying, with all of these hard rock, heavy metal bands from the 80s, these hair metal bands, I never really focused too much on the lyrics. I just didn't expect them to be particularly, intellectual. But I just thought it'd be interesting today because I think people do recognize the fact that, these lyrics from these type of bands are just pretty much sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and you just take it for what it is. But some are a little bit more dodgy a little bit worse than others. And also though, you can find some good ones in there. But to be honest, it was easier finding the bad ones than it was to find the good ones. Anyway, that's the show for today. Hope you found that interesting, and feel free to comment. Maybe there's some songs with some interesting lyrics that you would like to mention. All right, so yeah, feel free to leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you later. All right, see ya.